Hello FCST 1010 students, welcome to week 8 of FCST. We are flying by and we are going to go ahead because I have a lot to talk about this week as far as this week is note taking. It's my favorite. It is my very favorite module out of all 10. I don't know why, but I just absolutely love this module. I put a notice last week. It said a few of you have stopped submitting assignments. The zeros will start to add up and drop you multiple letter grades. We're almost to the end of the 10 weeks. You can do it. Keep up the good work. Don't quit now. I mean every word of it, guys. You can do it. Please keep plugging along. I kind of see a progression of people starting to fade off with what they submit, and remember, every time you don't submit, that gets replaced with a 0, and they do add up, and you don't want it to drop you to such a point where you would fail the class after all this hard work you've done. So keep up the good work. Don't give up now. We've only got 3 more modules left, and you're going to absolutely love this module. Again, this is over note taking. And I say it all the time that this is probably the most important module out of it, and I guess that's why I love teaching this class, is they're all really important. This one can affect everything. I tell my face-to-face students all the time, if you, a lot of them, when we talk about test taking, they'll say, yeah, but what the test was over things that the professor didn't even cover in class. Well, when you think about if you're a face-to-face student or even an online student, there is no way humanly possible in a face-to-face class you meet twice a week for a total of 2 hours and 30 minutes, or online, I create a 15-minute screencast. I cannot go over everything that you guys need to know, just like you can't in a face-to-face class. They may talk about certain things in class or online, and then they will assign you chapters to read out of the book. So when you come to a test and you're prepared to take the test, that not only includes the notes that you took in person or online, but that includes the notes from the book as well. Now, you may not have the professor going through it so that you can highlight the book. Highlighting never did me any good anyway. You need to break it down. You need to outline the book. Last week, for Module 7, you learned about SQ3R, where you survey what you have to read. You make a question out of the headings. You make a question out of anything in bold or italics, and you answer the question as you read. That's taking notes. That's being an active listener. I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and this first video is the perfect example of how some students do not listen to a professor. Y'all, guilty as charged. I've been there. Everybody's been there. There are just some days where you cannot stay focused on what your professor is saying if you sit there. One way to stay focused is to be an active listener, and that means take notes. It will keep you awake in class. You will be an active participant in the class, and the most wonderful thing about it is after you've sat there for an hour and 15 minutes, you walk out of the room and you have something to show for it. I see students every day as a college professor sit there for an hour and 15 minutes, and when they walk out of the room, they didn't any more hear what I said than a man in the moon, and then they have to turn to a classmate and say, what did she say? What are we supposed to do? What do we have to turn in? And I think, how easy would it be just to take that 1 hour and 15 minutes out of your life, and you've committed to go to college, to be a college student, and take notes while you're in class. That way you don't have to ask anybody else. And that's me on my soapbox. I guess that's why I'm so passionate about this module, because I hate to see students that don't understand the importance of taking notes. This next video is how to take great notes. There are several ways to take notes, and you're going to learn about them in this module. I want you to read this article. There is a listening quiz right here. How good of a listener are you? In order to take notes, You have to be a good listener. You can't be trying to think of what you're going to have for dinner that night or what you're going to do when you leave to be a good listener. You cannot be a good listener. You cannot multitask. It's impossible. The other thing that I would stress about taking notes is get with somebody else in the class. I've told y'all before, form study groups. Find somebody that's in your degree path, that wants the same things that you do. Hook up with that student, become study partners, and after you take notes, share your notes with each other. When I was in nursing school, long before I was an educator, we had a group of 5 people, and we met about 2 or 3 days a week to study. And when we were going over our notes, maybe one person said, "Oh, I didn't hear her say that," and then they go over theirs, and I say, "Oh, I didn't catch that either." You can add it to your notes. So then we were getting notes from 5 different ears, sets of ears, instead of just from ourselves, because you can't, you're going to miss some things. So when you have a study group and you can share your notes, it is so much better. And once you get out of any learning support class that you're taking, you start taking the bigger core classes and classes that pertain to your degree. You will need a study group. I promise you, you will need a study group. Your journal entry for this week, in step 5, journal entry 8, do you really listen in class? And I want you to be honest. Be perfectly honest. I'm not going to go and tell your professor. This is meant for you to realize, do I really listen in class? Or do I allow my mind to wander? Am I an active participant? What do I do? So be honest in your response. Does your mind race to other thoughts? Are you an active listener? What could you start doing to be a better listener? And every one of you is going to say the same thing. I'm going to start taking notes while I'm in class. But will you make a pledge to start taking notes no matter what class? This class, I would love that while I'm talking during this lecture, you guys are writing it down. And not because you're going to be quizzed over it later. It's because I want you to remember this when you go on to another class where you will be quizzed. So journal entry 8 is due Wednesday before midnight. Please remember to respond to two students if you want full credit. Now starting on Thursday, I created this winning note-taking strategies. I created it for an FCST training that I presented at. And y'all know I'm a big Disney fanatic, so I hope it doesn't make you dizzy to read this. Children, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times while you're watching this Prezi, because it kind of whirls around a little bit. But I love there are videos embedded into this Prezi, and they show you different note-taking strategies. Absolutely love it. And then step 2. You're going to need to, step 2 is going to help you with challenge 8. Challenge 8 is due on Sunday. You need to pull up 5 note-taking methods. And there is the Cornell method. I want you to read about the Cornell method. There is the outlining method. That is note-taking strategy number 2. Number 3 is the mapping method. Number 4 is the charting method. And number 5 is the sentence method. I want you to read about all 5 of them. Don't just choose, the old faithful. Now, if you want to choose the outlining method, if that is the best way for you to take notes, that's what I want you to do. Especially when you are reading a chapter. Outlining is a phenomenal way. But I also want you to choose a second method. So you're going to choose 2 out of these 5. Now, you need to follow these directions very carefully. So once you've chosen your 2, either the outline the T. Cornell, and the 2 more note-taking methods. You're going to watch this video right here over mushroom burial suit. Crazy video. Crazy video. You're going to take notes. I think it's 6 minutes long. You're going to watch the first 3 minutes, and you're going to take notes over using one method of note-taking. Then, and you're going to stop the video. Then you're going to switch to the second method that you chose, and you're going to watch the rest of the video and take notes. It's like the rest of it is like 2.5 minutes after that. So after taking the notes over the video in both methods, these are the questions I want you to answer for Challenge 8. Which note-taking systems did you choose? Why did you choose them? After you take notes, which one do you prefer? Why do you prefer that? How could you successfully use this note-taking system in a class for which you are currently enrolled? It can be anything. Guys, you need to be taking notes in math. In math, you would give examples. You would write definitions. Any class that you're in right now, I want you to give me an example. Go into detail, include the question along with your answer, and they don't need to be short and sweet. I want you to really tell me why. I want you to go into detail, but you'll really love this video. If you have any questions over this week's module, please email me at kwheeler@highlands.edu. I'll be out of the office on Monday and Tuesday, but I'll try to answer any emails. I'll take a quick look, and if anybody has any questions. So far, y'all don't very many of you don't have any questions at all. But if you do over this module, please don't hesitate to email me. And I want you to really, really think about this one, and I want you to make a pledge to start taking notes in all of your classes, including this one. And y'all have a great week. Journal 8 due Wednesday with 2 replies before midnight. Challenge 8 due Sunday before midnight. Y'all have a great week.